Welcome into the latest edition of the Comrade and Cale Show. I'm Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining us this evening as we preview the LSU Tigers. And, of course, I have a couple of co-hosts. We have my buddy, who I am bringing in right now. He's on vacation, but he's been slapping Maryland people around to his YouTube channel at Carolina Jackpot. He is Cale Hall. Cale, welcome to the show.
What's up, man? How are you?
How are you enjoying your vacation, sir?
Yeah, so far I just kind of got to the place that we're staying at about 6, and believe it or not, I think it's hotter here than it was at home. If that makes any sense.
That's so good. You're in the mountains. It's supposed to be cooler, Cale.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. It was really hot today. They're under heat advisory. There's like almost 100 here.
That's crazy,
I think it's
man.
supposed to cool off to like the mid 80s towards the middle of the week. So I guess that'll be good. But other than that,
good.
yeah, I just got back from the grocery store, and that. So that was an experience.
You want to share?
I bought my beer. You have to go to a separate area of the store here to buy your beer. The alcohol laws are really weird, and you can't buy more than one package of beer. So you could buy one. I could buy one single tall boy if I wanted to, or I could buy a super suitcase, like a 36 pack, but I can only buy one. So
what kind of fuckery is that, Cale?
It's horseshit. And beer is only sold in the grocery stores and like the beer and wine outlet. Like you go to your convenience store, like the Gulf Station. They still have a Gulf Station here. How long has it been since you've seen a Gulf Station? But anyway, you go to the Gulf Station. They have no beer there. They don't sell that beer or wine there. It's just sodas and that. So kind of strange. I like the convenience stores here though. Wawa, one of my favorites, and Sheetz. They're both better than QT or Spinks or any of that crap we got at home.
Well, that's cool stuff. But Cale is on vacation, still joining us. We're going to preview the LSU Tigers tonight as soon as the Comrade gets his butt in here. Speaking of which, let's welcome the third member of our show. He is not on vacation. He's currently at his house. The Comrade, Mike Dobreski. Mike, good evening, sir.
It is great to be a Gamecock. Great to be a Gamecock.
Hold on. Did you just flip your hair like Geraldo Rivera?
Well, I was just kind of like, I was looking at the thing right here. I was just wrestling with my son and my dog, so it got a little messed up. But it's good to be here. Great to be a Gamecock. Great to be a Gamecock.
My money's on Will. If you're wrestling with Will, I think Will can kick your ass off this planet.
Well, it depends. And it depends on the night. It depends on the night right now. But I'm just happy that, during these trying times that we have recruits that are wanting to come here and not decommit. So it's good to be a Gamecock.
I know one Will that can kick your ass all over the place.
Who's that?
That's Will Muschamp, because he always seems like he's big. He always seems big mad about it.
I'll remind people too. I did not name my son after Will Muschamp. It's just kind of luck. He's 8 years old, so the math does not work out quite. But it's kind of destined, which is why I think Muschamp's going to turn this around. I think it's his destined that way. He's going to turn it around, become a legendary Gamecock coach.
Well, we're going to preview the LSU Tigers tonight. I want to thank our sponsors before we get moving this evening, including Callaway's Bar and Grill out in West Columbia. Highway 1 diagonal from the Walmart. Go by and get yourself some takeout. If you're not into going in to get your food set up, don't worry about that, man. They can hook you up with that. You can also, if you're up for it, you can go in and play some video games. They got people scrubbing the video games down after everybody plays, which is kind of interesting. So Callaway's Bar and Grill, Callaway'sBarandGrill.com, a little mom and pop business. Go and support some of those, man. It's always good to support them as well. Another mom and pop business that supports our show is Dennis Wilson, DNC Trucking and Transport, the No Spin Zone segment with the Comrade. Comrade, read away.
It sucks to be a Gamecock. Now for some poetry. Roses are red, violets are blue. Will Muschamp sucks ass and the Gamecocks do too. I am the reason Cal Hall pisses in his sink. Go Tigers.
That message courtesy of Dennis Wilson, DNC Trucking and Transport. The No Spin Zone segment, we have it every week. Great stuff there from Dennis. Make sure you support Dennis. Dennis is a freight operator. He just moves things. That's what they do. Relocation services. You love Dennis Wilson. Stop it.
No, I don't.
I want to hear that, kid.
I do not.
Shout out to the folks watching on Facebook Live, including Keith and Noah and all these guys. Appreciate them. Let's thank our patrons, Lawton Swan of Clemson Sports Talk, the czar of Clemson Sports, Thomas Staney Young, Stacy Hamp, Keith Harrelson, Jamie Phillips, Tabitha Sims, Robert Knight, also Positive Mike, Lisa Sister Harkins, Jeff Pritchett, Christian Young, Eddie Hicks, Sally Donegan, and Melanie Bookhart. We appreciate all of them for supporting the show. If you want to support the show, go to robincomrade.com. And by the way, we are taking sponsorships for the football season. Our downloads and views during the football season are quite possibly the best that money can buy. If you want people that watch football and maybe gamble a little bit on football, and that's the kind of business that you have to support those kind of folks, you should be a sponsor of this fine program. Let's get into it, gentlemen. Tonight we preview the LSU Tigers. We always do. Go ahead, Cale. What you got?
Rob, real quick before we get going on them, you would have enjoyed it today because I know you share a common hatred for them, and I think yours is way worse than mine with the Mutt fans. I got one who calls himself on Twitter Alpha Dog something or other. I got them big mad this morning for no other reason than I told him that, they needed to get behind their team and make this thing with South Carolina a competitive rivalry again. That's all I said. They get big mad and they start posting screenshots from Wikipedia and all this shit and all these numbers and factoids. I'm like, the only numbers I'm concerned about are 20-17, sir.
Well, here's the thing with that. Mike, help me with this. When you guys went down to Georgia, where were they ranked? Do you remember?
Was Georgia ranked?
Two or three.
Were they 3 or 2? I think they
were 3.
I think they were different polls though. I think the coaches poll had them at. I think one was at 3 and one was at 2, depending what poll.
I think it was Alabama, Clemson, and them.
Yeah, I think I used the higher ranking though when I went for the wins. I think it was 3, but I think about 4 one of the polls. Yes,
we can agree they were a top 5 team, and we're not telling lies, right?
They were a top 5 team because one of my little troll posts in the Facebook group was raise your hand and be the top 5 team this year, and of course Clemson could not do that. So yeah, they were definitely a top 5 team.
Yeah, well, what I tell Georgia fans is you act like you've won something. It's been 40 years since you won a national title. You lost to 4-8 South Carolina last year. South Carolina had 2 conference wins. They beat Vanderbilt and you. Okay,
real quick. Let's
be honest. DeCarrion Joyner is not even going to take a snap at under center this year. That's a guy who's going to be playing wide receivers. They beat you with a backup quarterback
who couldn't run, who was playing with a bad hamstring, and Helinski played all game long, pretty much injured too. Let's not forget that Helinski was pretty much playing on one leg as well. So basically, we beat you with a freshman.
If you put both those guys together, you may have 3/4 of a quarterback.
Yeah, and basically those 2 quarterbacks who were a true freshman, and Joyner, I believe, was that Joyner's first game as a quarterback at college football? Was that his first game, his first action at quarterback? Joyner?
No, I think
no.
I think he threw a little bit.
He played some the year before. He played some against. He played in 2008, right, or 2018, right, and took the red shirt because he only.
Yeah, I don't
yeah, he played some against. He played some against UT Chat.
Okay.
I think that's the first game where he played against a ranked opponent and he kicked that ass.
Oh, I'm sure.
And he wasn't even healthy. And so Noah Sheldon writes in here real quick, go Dogs, and Will Muschamp was a proven loser. First of all, Will Muschamp is a Georgia alum.
He wasn't that day, though.
He's a Bulldog, number one. So you're calling a fellow Bulldog a loser, which is fine. But one thing he did not lose at was going between the hedges as the coach of the Gamecocks. He kicked that ass. He kicked the ass. So, you know, and he ate the hedges in front of you, too. He snacked on the hedges in front of you. So please don't be calling – just don't – whatever. Proven loser, yeah. Not last year. Against you.
Georgia doesn't get to talk shit to South Carolina. You don't get it. You had a top 5 team at home and you lost. Shut your hole. No one cares about what you've done or any of that. Look, my 2 lasting images from Georgia's football program from last year is South Carolina eating your damn shrubs and then all of you leaving at the half because Joe Burrow throat screwed you. That's what I remember from Georgia. You didn't really do much else that was worth a damn. So just stop with this nonsense that you're a valid football program. You need to stop. And by the way, one other quick note here before we get into the Georgia, the LSU program for this year. Florida fans also need to shut their mouth. Since Mizzou joined the league in 2012, they have the same amount of SEC East titles as Florida does. So you should probably shut your holes too. Both you and Georgia are failures.
Missouri has kicked their ass more often than not.
Exactly. You used
they
to be
beat
the
up Tennessee and Florida.
Exactly. You used to be the dominating teams of the East, and now you're not. You're riding Alabama and LSU nuts to make yourself viable. That's what you do, Georgia and Florida fans. And Tennessee, don't even start with me, Tennessee. Don't even start. I like what Pruitt's doing with your program, but just stop. Just stop. Over the past 5 years, I'll take Kentucky over you. How's that? How you like them apples?
Definitely.
I like your coach better than you. Better than
I would
what you're
take
doing.
Vanderbilt if we're going last 5 years. Vanderbilt beat them, 3 years in a row by double digits.
That's a good point. I have to marinate on that one, Cale. But Cale does make a good point. Anyway, Brian Korth says SC is better than Georgia. He's right.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt almost won it. Vanderbilt almost won at Notre Dame. Tennessee got throat fucked by Georgia State.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Everybody over Tennessee always trying to hurt players. All right, so I figured we would get into the LSU football program this evening. Quick overview from last year. They went 15-0, winning the national title, beating the second-best team in the country and the hardest game on their schedule. Should have been 49-25, but they took a knee. They ended up going 42-25. Just a dominating performance for LSU. A game they came back from because, if you remember correctly, Clemson was up
14-0.
Yeah, Clemson was up big. Yep, something like that. Or maybe in 10-0. I don't remember the exact, but Clemson was up, and then all of a sudden Burrow woke up and proved that he's a special player. Threw for 5,671 yards and 60 touchdowns. Wow. Fourth year, he's going to be replaced this year by fourth-year quarterback Miles Brennan. We'll see how he does there. They lose Joe Brady, who was their passing game coordinator, and I'm wondering if he's the guy that was the straw that stirred the drink, in my opinion, because once he got there and implemented what he did, all of a sudden Joe Burrow goes from average SEC quarterback to freaking outstanding. Brady is now the offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers. We will get into anyway. Yeah, they do have the Biletnikoff Award winner, Jamar Chase, 84 catches, 1,780 yards, 20 touchdowns. Terrence Marshall, by the way, and I think Cale will agree with me on this. He's no slouch. 671 yards, 13 touchdowns in 12 games. And they got a big tight end, freshman Eric Gilbert, the Gatorade National Player of the Year. He's going to play tight end for them. For the defense, they're also going to transition a little bit. Bo Pelini is back, replacing Dave Arenado. That's the big thing with LSU. Lots and lots of change. We always do the good, the bad, and the ugly before we get started. We'll start with Comrade tonight. Do you have something good, bad, or ugly for the LSU program?
You just mentioned him. I'm a big Bo Pelini fan. Not as a head coach, but he's a great defensive coordinator. He's going to a 4-3 defense. I'm kind of old school. We're talking, fullback U at Carolina with Bobo, and now we're going back to 4-3 defense for LSU. I know they lost some guys. They have a ton of speed on defense. I think their defense is going to be unreal. And for any offense they lose with Burrow being gone and Joe Brady being gone, I think they make up with it with their defense. I think their defense will be scary this year. And I think Bo Pelini coming back, he used to be the DC there years ago. I think their defense will be very good. And they lost a lot of guys, but they still have a lot of talent there too. So I see good things in LSU. I'm not one of those people who think that LSU is going to fall off the map this year.
Cale, do you have something good, bad, or ugly for LSU?
Well, something good is their return, Jamar Chase, 1,780 yards receiving last year, who was the leading receiver yardage-wise on 84 catches only, though. Justin Jefferson caught 111, but he had a fewer yards. So this dude caught the ball for almost 22 yards every time he touched it. He returns. This guy is just a nasty, nasty ball player, man. I like watching this guy play. Now, I don't like just watching him play because he destroyed you guys last year. I'm just a college football fan.
I like it that way.
If these players, they're not playing the Gamecocks, I enjoy watching them play. And, some of those catches he made were just unreal. So with that guy on your team, I don't know what kind of quarterback this Miles Brennan is. Is he a pocket passer? Does he run around? I don't know what kind of guy he is. If he can throw a forward pass and this guy gets a hold of it, look out. It's just about get the ball to this dude, man. They'll be okay.
What I read about Brennan, though, he's kind of like Burrow. I'm not saying he's like Burrow, but in terms of he can pass the ball. He's also got some mobility. He might be a little bit more mobile than Burrow. He's talented. I'm not saying he's have a Joe Burrow year, but he's not like he's a scrub. He's not Nealon Green. He's not Kyle Parker. He's a
they
good
don't make him like Nealon anymore.
No, they don't make him like Nealon Green. So he's talented. Let's be honest. If he was in the Gamecocks, if he was our quarterback, we'd be freaking running up down the street celebrating the next coming.
Nealon grew up in Yonkers, New York, throwing the football around on the basketball court.
That's right, Nealon.
Outside the playground.
I miss Nealon. The thing about Nealon Green, he reminded me a lot of Larry Bird. And everyone goes, how can you compare those two? But Larry Bird was great at the bounce pass, and so was Nealon Green. They both threw great bounce passes. And so I always kind of saw that. I saw that whole thing.
Anyway, enough of bashing Nealon Green. My bad for LSU is the word transition. And you're not going to have what you had last year. And that's the thing that gets me. LSU fans, by the way, are a sensitive bunch. They're a group that thinks they're the most dominant program in the history of college football, even though they've won one out of their last 9 games against Alabama. They are the perennial bridesmaid in the SEC West. That's what they are. They had their one big year last year. All the pieces came together. 18 guys get drafted in the NFL? All of that comes together. They had the perfect storm. We're a great team, a dominant team. Joe Burrow finally figured it out. But now coming back this year, they lose a ton. And I agree with Comrade. Bo Pelini is great, but can he implement that system fast? Can he get them off the hook and running with that fast? Also, the other thing with the LSU defense is that they lose. Make sure I've got my numbers correct here. They lose their at linebacker. They lose their top 3 tacklers: Jacob Phillips, Patrick Queen. Both of those guys, and along with Levon Chasen, all are gone. So with that, they're going to have to put some new guys in there. Now, I know that they have a lot of talent down there, and I completely get that. But having the championship level talent where you can go and you can beat an Alabama, you can beat a Clemson, you can beat a team like that, after you lose that much and have that much of a drop-off, I think the transition is what's going to screw LSU over this season. All right, so we will start with our look at the LSU schedule. We're not going to do the non-conference games because Papa COVID is probably going to take those from us. I do want to do, because I've heard that things may be up in the air, I thought we would start with the Texas game because there are rumors that game may happen. Even if it doesn't hurt us to pick it. Cale, they have to play Texas at home. Remember, last year, Texas did something that was just shitty, in my opinion. They turned off the air conditioner in the locker room. So they're playing in the middle of a damn dust bowl in Texas anyway. And, let's pile 100 guys into a locker room and turn the air conditioner off. Horrible sportsmanship.
I didn't hear that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah,
they did that.
Yeah, they did that to them.
Was this big news? I really didn't hear that.
No, they claim that. What's that?
You think that Tom Herman was behind that?
I think someone at Texas was. Yeah.
Well, it would have to have been him, right? I mean, you
know what? I know where you're going with this, and he's in charge of the program. So, yep, he did it. Fine. I go with that. If you're in charge of the program, that's on you. So, yeah, I'm with you on that.
He's a shithead anyway.
He's a shithead. But, Cale, let's start with Texas. Do you think that Texas coming into Baton Rouge, do you pick the Tigers or are you going with the Longhorns?
No, I picked LSU to win that game because that's going to be a night game, obviously. I mean, it's a non-con game, so that would be prime time. Very difficult place to play at nighttime anyway for anybody that's not named Alabama. Last year's game, really close, though. I mean, Texas played them really close last year. They're losing Texas is losing, I think, maybe they're starting running back and a couple of receivers there, and their defense has always been kind of suspect. I think that LSU would they'd have too much for Texas, especially at home. So that might be ends up being the season opener for them, maybe, because it was scheduled for week 2. I don't see the Utsa game getting played. So yeah, I think LSU beats them at home.
All right, Comrade, who you got?
I think Tom Herman's a joke. I think he's overrated. I think Texas is overrated. I'm sick of hearing Texas is back or they're on their way. And I think LSU, if they do play and they play opening start the season, I think LSU makes a little statement and knocks them around and shows everybody that they're not falling off, and Texas still's got a long way to go. So I'm going to take LSU to win by 3 scores, Rob. 3 scores.
I agree with you on the whole thing with Texas. They're never back unless they're playing Georgia in a bowl game. Then they stomp that ass.
That's true.
Just remember that. Just remember, if they were playing Georgia, I would take them to beat Georgia. Just because they play Georgia, they beat them. That's the way that it works. But give me LSU winning that game over Texas in what may be the season opener. Up next, they have a game with in Baton Rouge with Ole Piss. Cale, who you got? Ole Piss or the Tigers?
The Tigers. Oh,
right.
where's this game at? This game is
In Baton Rouge.
In Baton Rouge, yeah. That's Ole Miss doesn't. They won't have the defense. They're not going to have the pass defense to contain a Jamar Chase. Oh, come on, no. What was the score of this game last year? I think Alabama actually exposed them defensively a little bit, 58-37. So yeah, they'd be looking to right the ship on that one too. I think Lane Kiffin will do some good stuff there offensively. He's got a good offensive mind. He's got a good quarterback. I like John Reese Plumlee, but they were it's like bringing a knife to a gunfight here.
Comrade, who you got?
Oh, I don't think. Yeah, I think Ole Miss. I'm not sold on Ole Miss either. And I know you guys love. I know Rob loves the coaching hires, both made by both Mississippi schools. I just don't think it's going to work out either for either school. And it's hard to believe that back in was it 2014, that Ole Miss, Mississippi State were both ranked in the top 3 at one time in the same season. Those days seem like a long time ago, but I'll take LSU to roll them pretty good in this one to kind of get off to a 1-0 start in the conference.
Hey, real quick over there on Facebook Live. Interesting to see in the chat room. Hadn't seen this. This is a blast from the past. Name we hadn't heard in a while. Carlos Holder over there, and he throws out a factoid. About Comrade making fun of Nealon Green, making fun of a quarterback who actually played for a better team. Were they really a better team that year? They went 5-6, and we stomped that ass 33-7 in that shithole you call a stadium. And then we went on to win that big CarQuest Bowl? I don't think so, sir. You need a fact check there.
That's it.
Fact check. That
fact check,
sour grapes.
I thought Carlos was out somewhere protesting against a BLM meeting. That's what I thought he was doing. I don't know. Whatever, Carlos. Do your thing, brother. Come in here and drop stuff. Am I dropping facts or not? Is my dropping facts or not, Comrade?
He's gonna be angry at you. I'm gonna get a message on my Facebook feed. Damn Rob Sanders.
Send your.
Oh, dude, they have the New York news channel on up here. It's only about 90 minutes from here. The New York news channel on here, and they arrested a girl for vandalizing a Black Lives Matter mural in New York City this morning, and it was a black girl, and they were arresting her. It was just right here. They were filming this, and to do this, it was crazy. That she was fighting the cops, and they said that after they arrested her, said she's against the movement. That was nuts.
Obviously.
Well, anyway, I don't want to get into politics and stuff this evening. I just want to talk football.
Let's talk about
football. Well, she looked like she's ready to play football.
She might have lined up at damn linebacker. Who knows? Up next, the LSU team will head to Florida. They will play in the Swamp. It's supposed to be a game on October the 10th. I think this is going to be one of the tougher games on their schedule. Cale, are you going with the Gators or are you going with the Tigers?
Well, we already did the Florida preview, so they know how I'm going on this one. I'm not going to switch that back now. I'm going with the LSU Tigers in this one. I think that passing game, I think it's going to be too much. I think by this point, their quarterback will be settled in. I think they can move the ball in Florida and score them a little bit. I think Florida's got a really good defense, and this should be a good game. Should be one of the better games that we see this year in the SEC. But I have LSU winning this one.
Mike, which way you floating, brother?
Yeah, same way. I think it's a potentially good game, but I'm still not sold all the way on Florida. I know everyone wants to crown them and everything like that, but I can't get over the fact that they have a hard time beating us let alone a team with much more talent like LSU. So LSU will win the game. Might be close for a while. Could be a defensive game going in there, but I think LSU gets it done, wins this game, maybe 21-10.
Yeah, well, my thing with this game, and I'm taking Florida, and the reason that I'm taking Florida is that this is going to be the first big game environment for the quarterback, Brennan, and the first big game environment for that defense under the new defensive coordinator. I mean, I think if they win this game, LSU is off to the races, but I think that Florida will have too much for them. And I also think that Dan Mullen's a guy where he's like, he wants to improve every season. The big thing to improve this year is he's got to beat LSU. And I think he's got them at home. And I think it's going to be a close game that could swing either way. But I think that with the linebackers that LSU lost, they're going to have some issues with the tight end Pitts down there. Look for LSU to drop their first game of the season, probably something like 21-17, something like that. But I think it'll be a tough, old school, pre-Spurrier, fun and gun. We're going to try to run the ball at you type game. I do think that Jamar Chase could have a chance to shine in this game, though, because the secondary for Florida is good, but I think that he can do some really, really good stuff. And the new tight end that LSU has, I think that he can do some stuff too. But give me Florida to pick up their first win of our pick.
I thought the secondary for Clemson was pretty good, but this dude just blasted them in the national championship game. He's on another level.
But it wasn't him. Okay, it wasn't the offensive coordinator, the passing game coordinator, Joe Brady. It wasn't Joe Burrow, the winner of the Heisman Trophy. It's a quarterback that has never really had a chance to shine. Too many unknowns. They don't have Edwards-Helaire back there that they can give the ball to and have him bust things up, a first-round draft pick. They don't have that. So when you're going on the road, you don't have those kind of things. Until you can prove it to me, I'm going to have to go with what I know. I like Kyle Trask. I like Pitt. I like what Dan Mullen's going to do. Give Florida the win. Up next, they go to Fayetteville to play Arkansas. Cale, who's your pick here, brother?
I think that the upset does not happen in this game. And I think LSU I think they name the score here. As Uncle Lou says, Sam Pittman is the best offensive line coach in college football. Has never been a coordinator, never done any of that. And if he ends up being the greatest coach in college football history, it won't mean anything he does at 2020 Arkansas. They don't have the talent there. Their recruiting's been really bad. And they're going to stick it up for a couple of years before they can get any better. I just don't see them being able to. They don't have the depth to compete with an LSU. Don't have the size, speed, or skill. So, yeah, give me LSU.
I know you have a men's medium, Felipe Franks jersey from his days with Florida, Cale. You're not feeling the Franks down in Arkansas?
Beans and Franks was a decent quarterback the last year. Who's a Florida. In 2017, he was the shits. 2018, after Dan Mullen got there and started to work with him, his numbers turned around a lot. But he's not going to have the weapons at Arkansas that he had at Florida, nowhere near. And he's not going to have the offensive line. He's got a decent running back there to hand the ball off to. That's about it. Franks can run the ball around a little bit too. He's long and lean. He can stretch the ball out and can get first downs when he needs to. But I don't think he has the receiving talent there to throw the ball to at Arkansas. So I think the difference he makes is going to be.
You were a Franks fan. I thought you were a Franks fan. That's okay.
I like the guy. Just he don't have the pieces of the puzzle there to make it work.
Comrade, who you got?
I think Arkansas will be much improved this year, addition by subtraction. And I think they hang in there maybe for a quarter or two. I think they put a little scare in LSU for a little while, but LSU prevails and wins this game going away. But Arkansas is going to look a lot better this year. They're going to surprise some folks, just not this game here.
Up next. Oh, by the way, Arkansas is going to be terrible this year. They just. I think they're going to be like 4-8. They're going to be they may end up the worst team in the West again. If they play South Carolina for the worst team in the SEC, it might be a shootout. We'll see. Up next is at home with Baton Rouge, with Mississippi State. The Pirate getting his first matchup in Baton Rouge. I'll go first. I think that everywhere he's gone, even in his first year, the Pirates offense has always put up numbers. And I think that they'll score some points, but they're going to give up a lot of points. It's like when he gets there, everybody learns on the offensive side to do great stuff, but the defenses all forget how to tackle, and they're just generally not worth a crap on that side of the ball historically. But I think that I look for a big game from Chase, and the other wide receivers should have a field day. And I think they win that game like 42-30, something like that. Late touchdown, make it a little closer for the Pirate there. Cale, which way you going, bud?
Yeah, I agree with you that they'll put up some numbers. KJ Costello, that's his name, their quarterback, from transfer from Stanford. I mean, it's interesting to see what he's going to be able to do here. It's all totally new defenses he's going to be facing. His numbers at Stanford were good for like one season. Really not quite sure what kind of receiving talent Mississippi State has. I'm sure they'll develop some because they have to, because this is the system he runs. Did Crybaby Hill join the team back again? Is he with them now? Or he's not going to quit on them? As long as
I think he's working on it. I think he's going to play. So,
well, they're getting rid of the redneck flag, so he should play. Anyway, as long as he plays, that gives him a formidable rushing attack. He's really good. So I think they'll score some points. I think this one here, they only put up 13 points last year against them. I could see this one possibly being like that Ole Miss game last year where LSU gives up a bunch of points, but just outscores them. So give me LSU to win here, a higher scoring affair than we've seen last year at home.
Mike, what you got?
Once again, I'm not sold on either Mississippi team. Leach, I think, is going to be even worse off. I think he's not going to fit in. I just don't think he's going to fit in the SEC culture. I think I like him. I like him entertainment-wise. I don't want him coaching my team. I'm glad he's not coaching my team. But I think it's not going to work in the SEC, and I think this will be kind of the first kind of sign. I think LSU is going to beat them pretty bad and stop their offense and make their offense look pretty bad. And you're going to start seeing the signs right away here. LSU wins big.
Up next, we go from Mississippi State. They're supposed to get a bye week before they welcome in Alabama. I don't know if the schedule is going to work out where they'll have that bye week. And we may talk about this at the end of the show to kind of talk a little bit about scheduling. But I think that they may, in one of the theories I've heard is that they may play for 8 straight weeks just to get 8 games in, no bye weeks, no nothing. I mean, and then have everything wrapped up. Start in September, like the middle of September is one of the areas that I've heard, and then have everything wrapped up pretty much by the second week of November. If that happens, I don't think there'll be any break in games. And with that, LSU doesn't get a week to prepare for Alabama. On the other side, Alabama doesn't get an extra week to prepare for LSU either. If Nick Saban has, an extra 7 days to prepare for you, God bless you. That's not going to help. That's not going to work out very well for you at all. Nick Saban's a hell of a coach. And if he has that extra time, it's not going to be good for you. But, Cale, what do you think about this matchup for Alabama and LSU in Baton Rouge? Cale, did you leave us? I see your stuff over there. Comrade, you go ahead and do your thing.
I think it'll be a great game. I just think Alabama's got a little bit too much this year for LSU. I think it'll be a classic, though. I mean, they'll probably want to be the games of the year. But I think Bama pulls it out. I think Bama I like their quarterback a lot. I like Mac. I think he's going to be a star this year. And might be a kind of a guy who kind of comes out of nowhere. You're the Bama quarterback. But I can see him being a guy who challenges young Trevor, maybe for the Heisman. But I don't think Bama here to kind of pull one out late in a classic game, maybe like late touchdown by 4 points or so is what I'm going to go with.
All right, Cale, are you with us? Can you give us what you think on this big matchup in the SEC?
Yeah, I'm here.
West?
I think just that one player, that big wide receiver for LSU, I think this is going to be the difference here. I mean, both the defenses are really good, but a couple of question marks. Both got a little bit of question marks at quarterback. Maybe LSU a little bit more so because Tua Tawachi was hurt so much last year. This Matt Jones guy got a little bit more playing time, but still, home game for them. They beat you last year. And I think they do it again. I think LSU wins this game, a close one.
Oh,
at home,
right.
And
wow,
kind of spoils things for Alabama a little bit.
Yeah, that would be a spoiler for the Alabama football program there. So Cale has got LSU with the win. Comrade's got LSU with the loss. My big thing with this game is the game is in Baton Rouge. And last year, and I know they've lost a lot from last year. Joe Burrow in last year's game, though, was 31 for 39, 393 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Edwards-Helaire, 20 carries, 103 yards, 3 touchdowns. Those two gentlemen aren't playing. And let's also remember, Alabama went there. The game was at Alabama for Bama anyway. They still hung 41 points. They lost by 5. You can make the argument that the game was never really in depth. I get that. But with what's left, no Burrows, no Edwards, I think Alabama wins. Probably, I don't think it's going to be an offensive shootout, but maybe 26 to 20, something like that. With LSU coming up just short. Up next, the next matchup, which would have been on November the 14th, but it'll be right after that game, is in Baton Rouge with the South Carolina Gamecocks. Cale, tell us how your Gamecocks can beat LSU.
Well, what we do is we go turn the air conditioning off first of all, and then classic spot. You played Alabama, big game. Week before, I think they get to win. It's a good time for South Carolina to be playing them. I think, I may be wrong, the week before this game, we play Georgia. So, we'll be looking to continue our run of dominance over them the week before. So we're both coming off big games the week before. Laugh at me. I think the Gamecocks can keep this game close, at least for a while. LSU's strength is going to allow the passing game, And that South Carolina, that defensive secondary is going to be improved, and that secondary has a chance to be really good. If all these players, J.C. Horn has a good year, if McCormick has another good year, they can be really good. LSU's defense is tough, and I still not knowing yet how the season's going to play out. I just kind of question our Jimmys and Joes on offense and the ability to move the ball. But I'm sure Mike Bobo will be able to come up with some kind of game plan for these guys. So we'll see. I think it'll be closer than what some people think. But I think LSU will probably win by 2-3 scores going away. But that's about where I'm landing on that one.
All right, Comrade, tell us how your Gamecocks can beat LSU.
This is not a really good matchup for the Gamecocks. I think
good matchup for everybody. Go ahead.
I think we match up well with most teams in the SEC. I think this is not one of the teams we do. I think it'll be a good test to see kind of where we are offensively. It'll be a good catch for our offensive line, a good test for our running game to see if we can run the ball. I mean, our only hope is to be able to run the ball, to dirty this game up, to get it low scoring, to play ball control, and on defense, have some takeaways. Have LSU get a little bit impatient because they're not in the field. Have them throw a couple balls up we can pick off and we score on defense, and then maybe have a chance. But it's going to take a lot. So I'm going to take LSU to win this game pretty comfortably here. But never count out the Boom and the Bobo. Never count them out. But I just don't see this one as a game that we're going to pull the upset in this year.
I think LSU is going to win this game 35-7. And I think the 7 will probably be late in the fourth quarter when no one gives a shit. I think South Carolina is going to be a terrible program. I just don't.
Oh, my God.
It's just being honest. I ask you to tell me how to do it. The first thing that comes out of Cale's mouth is turn off the air conditioning. I have a shot in this game. I have a shot in hell of winning this game. So stop it.
Biased.
We're talking of South Carolina secondary real quick, and
Sure.
I got to go back and reference Tater Radio again. I think this was Wednesday morning. I think it was maybe Wednesday morning when I was riding to work early. And old Mickey Plyler, somebody texted in and asked him, what did he think of South Carolina's defense? And I don't know. I don't know how much I'm in agreement with this one. He seems to think that J.C. Horn is a really good player who hasn't tapped his potential yet, that he thinks he'll play on Sundays. He thinks that Mukwamu plays more like a safety than a corner, and that he uses his hands too much, and he'll get eaten up in the NFL if he makes it because with your PI calls on him because he can't make a play unless he's put his hands all over you. What do you think about that?
Right. I agree with him on the J.C. Horn thing. I think J.C. Horn is quite possibly the best player on the South Carolina roster. I think he is that good. I wonder, he is a junior this year, isn't he, Mike, or is he a sophomore? Can you help me with that? I can't remember.
He's a junior.
You have to worry, with his dad being Joe Horn, the former NFL wide receiver. I wonder how hard he's going to play. Is he really going to be balls to the walls if the Gamecocks start out 0-4? Is he just going to go through the motions and try to get ready for the draft?
Really, I mean, he's got to show something this year. I mean, he's shown a lot of potential. But numbers wise, I mean, how many balls is he intercepting? How many pick sixes is he taking back? I mean,
he's never had an interception. He's never had. I'm not the guy. He's just never had an interception. But he is a guy that he is one of those island type guys. He shuts down that half of the field. A lot of the reasons he doesn't have an interception is because nobody throws at him. Yeah, he's going to break it up. That's part of it. The first the first offensive coordinator that has a sack and throws at him, he'll probably get a pick. I mean, he's a hell of a player. I don't have a problem admitting when somebody's good from South Carolina. But I think he's the best player on the defense. And Okwamu, the big thing with him is that Will Muschamp is supposed to be this defensive genius, but he can't coach this kid out of getting pass interference penalties. He's got to get his secondary coach to get in there and get him right, because he's got the physical capabilities to be a guy that can play on the next level. And
he's got the tools.
He did some great stuff there too, but he's got to play more with his head than with his body. We'll see where he ends up there. So what you got, Cam?
He also talked about R.J. Roderick, who plays safety. He said he doesn't think he's a really good ball player. That he's more of he tries to be a headhunter instead of staying in position and making plays. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that or not. Some linebackers aren't very good. We understand that. Ernest Jones, I think, is a good player. I think that Sherrod Green is somebody who's been there, who's done nothing since he's been in Columbia. And along the defensive line, the defensive ends, the Ingabari kid says is a good player who's a little bit of a chippy type guy, which is true. And then in the middle of the defensive tackles, it's just kind of pedestrian there. So,
Do you agree with any of that? Not that we're getting into the South Carolina defense, but give us the Campbell's condensed version there.
Well, I said before, J.C. Horn, I think, is one of those guys that's going to have a really good NFL career. And the question is, how good of a career, when it's all said and done, will he have at Carolina?
Right.
He's one of those guys. I call him. There's a guy that I played with, Marcus Robinson, receiver, who did nothing at Carolina. Like he was my age. He was a freshman, and he couldn't catch the ball at all as a freshman. And I stopped playing, became a normal student, and just drank all the time. And next thing I know, he's playing for the Bears and putting up like unreal numbers till he hurt his back. He hurt his back and he was done, but he was putting up unreal numbers. So, I always think of that sometimes too. And J.C. Horn's been better than Marcus Robinson has been in college. But I hope we kind of see the talent that we hear about kind of more displayed in games. And I know teams don't throw to him that often. That's part of it too. But hopefully he has kind of more of a breakout year this year in that secondary and kind of leads that secondary because they're going to need him two-wise. I'm concerned about our linebacker play. Ernest Jones I like, but, I mean, if Ernest Jones is your best linebacker,
you got a problem.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm hoping that some guys develop quickly and we have some diamonds in the rough. But, we're going to really need our D-line, where we have talent on the D-line, to play up to their talent and protect the linebackers. Otherwise, we could be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, well, I
saw a poster or something the other day with like silhouettes of some of our guys on there, all SEC team, Ernest Jones, 4th team linebacker, and nobody above a 2nd team guy. I'm like, what is this horse shit?
They got to fill those teams out, Cale. It's kind of whacked. I have, I'm credentialed with the ACC and the SEC. We may, as we get closer to the season, when they ask for my all SEC and my all ACC teams for the media picks, we may pick those together on the show. That sounds like fun.
There you go.
Speaking of which, the one guy that I think is the SEC Player of the Year is going to be Chase at LSU. I think that guy's just man, he's tough. Anyway, getting back to LSU, after they beat the holy hell out of South Carolina, they go on the road to play at Auburn. The big thing with Auburn is I don't think Auburn's going to be very good. I think LSU is going to roll. I'll tell you why in a moment. But, Cale, Who do you like? Do you like Auburn or LSU in this matchup?
I like LSU. Auburn. I mean, I don't know what kind of pass rush they're going to be able to get on LSU. I don't know how they're going to be able, if they're going to stop the run. They lose a lot on that defensive line. Their run game, I don't think it's going to be very good. They got a couple pieces coming back at wide receiver, and a quarterback who can make some throws. But I mean, other than that, they're going to be installing. I guess we'll have some new wrinkles thrown in there with this Chad Morris offense. I suppose we'll see what's going on there. I just don't think I don't think they have the defensive firepower there to handle an LSU. Don't think they're going to be very good. Kind of like what you said. I think that the LSU wins this game. I think it'll be closer because I think they play LSU pretty good. I mean, we don't see a lot of blowouts in LSU Auburn games, but give me the LSU Tigers in this one.
I think that it's going to be. It's okay. First of all, let's make sure we put this out there. It's okay to say that Auburn's going to suck. For some reason, I'm not railing on Cale here, but just because they're in the SEC West doesn't mean that they're going to have to be a great football team. They can suck, and I think they're going to suck this year. Chad Morris and Gus Malzahn
they're never like going to be. They're not going to be like 4-8 suck. I mean, they're suck. They may be 8-4 suck. Okay, because their expectation is probably to win 10+ games every year.
But they're not on the level of LSU though. I mean, they're really not. They're just Malzahn's coaching for his job every year. So that's my opinion.
I think he's really not appreciated very much by the fan base. They're always ready to run him off. It doesn't matter. What we do the previous year. They're always ready to run the guy off. I mean, if I had a coach that's beat Alabama in the past 5 years, like 2 or 3 times, I mean, I'm not bitching for him to be fired. I mean, hell, I got Muschamp. What the fuck?
Yeah.
And you're very lucky to have Muschamp.
Oh God, Mike, what do you got, man?
Is there a bigger mismatch coaching-wise than a Chad Morris run offense and a Bo Pelini-led defense? I mean, is there one? Can you think of one?
No,
I can't think of that. So just alone on that, I mean,
maybe Dabo Dana Holgerson.
Yeah, that's well done, Kel. Well done. That hurt Rob. Rob got he's bleeding, a little nose, a little shot. Yeah, I just, I'm trying to be a smart ass, kind of a smart ass. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Bo Nix is strange to me because I don't think he's that good, but he's kind of got Steven Garcia a little bit of him in that he can look like ass most of the time, but he can also have a game where he looks like freaking Joe Namath came back from the damn, bad knees and puts up a game. Joe Willie Namath, SC legend, by the way. So, I mean, I think Bo Nix will have one of those big games this year, and if it's against LSU, then obviously they can beat LSU. But I hate to make my pick based on that one game. So I'll take LSU to win this game comfortably right now, but it's not going to – it wouldn't shock me if I turn my TV on in the afternoon if we have college football this season and I see Auburn, beating LSU late and Bo Nix having the game of his life. I mean, that wouldn't shock me.
Auburn loses by like 3 touchdowns. I'm not buying Auburn at all this year. I think Auburn's going to be like, if they played 12 games, I've got them winning 7. I don't think they're going to be very good at all. So give me the Tigers from LSU. Final game of the season, Texas A&M on the road in College Station, 108,000 idiots screaming their heads off, hoping for a win over LSU. Last time these two teams played in at Texas A&M. Final score was like in 7 overtimes, I think it was 74-72. Just absolutely no defense played on that day at all. I will turn it over to Cale. Cale, which way are you going here? You going with Kellen Mond, or you think that LSU can go in and get the win?
Well, despite the COVID virus, I think that Jimbo Fisher, I think he's got to have a big year this year. I think he's got to have one. The senior quarterback who's been there for a while, been in that system for a while. Yeah, I think that there's a little bit of a disappointment there. I think there's a stigma attached to Texas A&M as being the team that is always overhyped. I think people are tired of seeing it. I think that they've always had the stigma of winning in September and October, and then being the shits in November, because they have. And they have pieces this year at quarterback. They got some receiver talent. They got just enough on defense. I don't think that defense is going to be in the top 30 in the country, but they'll be decent enough. I think it's time that Jimbo finally gets a big win, and I think this is it. I think he does it. I think Texas A&M beats you. I think they pulled the upset in College Station in front of all those 108,000 idiots or whatever, screaming their heads off.
Yeah.
And we've seen them do it a couple of years ago, albeit that was a little bit different of an LSU team. I mean, they hadn't had the Joe Brady experience yet, so now they've gained the confidence to know what they can do. But I think that I have a nagging suspicion here that this A&M team is going to be a little bit better than people expect, and I think they get this win. This is a signature win for them.
All right, Mike, what do you got?
Cale Hall is a smart man, which is why he's on this show, because we'd like to have at least 2 people who are smart on this show. And I like A&M in this game, and simply from the standpoint that I think Kellen Mond is going to have a big year this year. And I'm not sure how big of a year A&M is going to have. I can see them maybe going 8-4 or so. But I think Kellen Mond could be the kind of guy who kind of comes out of nowhere, kind of like Joe Burrow did last year, and win the Heisman. 50-1 Heisman odds I love on Kellen Mond. Throw down like a couple bucks on that. I don't think A&M is going to be a national title contender, but I think this could be the game where Kellen Mond has a big game against a great defense, a defense that's been shutting people down all year long coming into this game, and he has a big game and kind of solidifies his numbers on the year. So I think A&M pulls the upset here. I'm with Cale in a thriller, and I think Kellen Mond gets it done with his arm, his legs, and everything else. I think he's going to play like he did in that game against Clemson a couple of years ago where A&M got screwed that game with the ball, fumbled, and they go out of bounds, that bullshit stuff. I think he's going to play like that game.
All right, well, in that game, he lost, so let's make sure that we put that out there.
That's screwed.
Also, here's the big thing with this. Jimbo Fisher is one of the biggest frauds in college football. He is an absolute failure. Without Jameis Winston, he has been a disgraceful football coach. He married a stripper who made sure that she changed her name to her stripper name before they got married and made him pay for it. And then he was upset because she had an affair with a Florida trainer, but still took her to Texas A&M, and she looks like she is absolutely miserable having to walk around with him when he's running around with his big belt buckle on that has Jimbo on it. What kind of crap is that? And that big 10-gallon hat that he wears. That guy is just an
He's got a big one. Is he got a Jerry Glanville belt buckle?
It's just one of those big belt buckles. There was a picture of it on Instagram one day, and it just says Jimbo. If your name is Jimbo and you get it put on a belt buckle and then you wear it with a cowboy hat, it's kind of hard for me to think that you can be like a leader of men. Just my opinion.
Because Jerry Glanville had a huge belt buckle too when he was the Falcons coach. It was like half the size of Ric Flair's Dome Globe NWA Championship belt.
All of that's great, and that's Jerry Glanville back in the 80s and the 90s. It's 2020. This guy's got his wife cutting flips on a Florida penis, and he's trying to coach a football team and doesn't have his head in the game. He hasn't been a good coach in a long time. And I think that the way that he's tried to build this program is not really good. And I think A&M is going to be a fraud this year too. Last year with Kellen Mond, he kind of, or Lamond or whatever, however he pronounces his last name, it was kind of a downward slope in my opinion. And I love the talk of him being in the Heisman conversation. Comrade may be right on throwing a couple of bucks there as far as a long shot goes. Wasn't Joe Burrow like 75-1 last year? Some of the LSU
I don't think he was on the board. I think he was like, I don't think he even find Burrow on the board anywhere, to be honest with you.
I thought that there was somewhere that had him because they were so great with him at the very end of the season last year. It looked like he was kind of turning the corner. But LSU wins this game, and I think they win it by, 10 to 12 points. So I've got them with the win there. We're going to open up the phone lines and take some folks calling us here. Let me make sure I give you the number here and put it on the bottom. It's 803-470-2905. 803-470-2905 is the number to call. As I give you our final.
What you just talked about, I can guarantee you who's going to be calling in tonight.
I just speak facts, sir. Sorry. Cale has got LSU.
I'm not arguing with you.
Cale has got LSU at what? 1, 2,
one loss.
3, 4. No, you got them losing to Alabama too, right? 4.
No, 7-1.
7-1. So Cale's got him at 7-1. Comrade, you went and finished up at what? We didn't do the non-conference. We did Texas too, so you got him at. Is that? Yeah.
8-1 then.
8-1 with the Texas game. Comrade, how did you finish up? You got him with a loss to.
I got losing to Bama. I got losing to A&M. Right?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. Let's head out to the phones. Good evening. Welcome into the show. What's up?
Hi, good evening. This A&M fan.
Oh, great. And I'm pissed off the A&M fans. What's up, man?
Hey, listen, I wanted to congratulate Cale on the big scratch-off win up there in Hershey.
Oh, yeah. Cale won like $300 today. Go, Cale.
Yep. Woo!
Hey, listen,
thank you.
I got a couple comments. I got a couple comments on A&M coach, Jimbo Fisher.
Sure, go ahead.
Hey, Jimbo Fisher was the National Junior College Player of the Year. And when he played football. So I don't really know why you don't think he knows much football. I don't think there's another coach in the nation say he was Player of the Year when he actually played football.
Right.
But he has a mindset. He's also gone to a school where he's never been recruited. He's got two top. Fisher knows a little bit about football. He's a jerk as a person, but as a football coach, he's from the State. He's not a bad football coach or a bad football player. Probably the best football coach in America today. So anyway, I just want to call in and let y'all know I'm still out here doing a great job.
All right, man. Hey, we appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for joining us on the show this evening. He didn't give me grief for saying his coach had some issues there. I was kind of I thought I'd catch more hell than that, Conrad. Anyway, mute your computer there, Mr. Tim Russell says. Anyway, phone lines are open if you want to. Did I not make sure I put the number out there? There we go. 803-470-2905. 803-470-2905. If you want to join the show this evening. Comrade's got it at what, 7-2? Is that what you have LSU finishing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right, yeah.
lost
Two losses.
lost to LSU or to Texas A&M. I've got them losing to Florida and Alabama, so I've got them at 7-2. That's with the Texas matchup. I think they Texas around too. So sorry about the echoes over there on the phone line, gentlemen. Appreciate you putting up with that. But
One
what'd you
thing
think
about him, about Jimbo Fisher. So
Yeah.
that was what 2013. The James Winston, the year that they ran through the ACC like shit through a tin horn and won the national championship. What was it like? All 22 of those starters on that team were drafted in the NFL at some point,
for
or
Florida
played in the
State?
NFL at some point.
Yes.
Yes.
They had a ton of great
So
players on that team.
so those were his players because he took over as head coach there for the 2010 season. So they were all his players.
Right.
They may have been a fifth-year senior there left over from Bobby Bowden's time. My thing is, why has he never been able to do it again? Why has he not been able to assemble the talent again to do that? If he did it once, I mean, I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, 22 players. I mean, and then the offensive line that he left Willie Taggart with, which, I mean, Willie Taggart was a dum-dum as a head coach, but let's just be frank. I mean, he didn't have a lot of talent left behind to work with either. I mean, he was kind of behind the eight ball the whole time he was there. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really get that.
I'm not, but I honestly think, and if you go back and look at it, you lose Jameis Winston, and I think that's something that is, Winston's been crappy in the NFL, but he was great in college. You lose that guy,
Oh, yeah.
You lose some of the the offensive line. It's like he forgot 2 recruiting classes to get some offensive line, and Florida State is still paying for that. So. I think that's where they're at with that. I don't know if he can make do that or not, but what you got, Cale?
You ever watch? You remember the last game that Bobby Bowden coached in at Florida State was the 2009, I believe it was the Gator Bowl against West Virginia. And I think they were 6-6 when they came in. And they sucked. And the West Virginia was, I don't know, they were like an 8-4 team, I think, maybe 9-3. And their head coach at the time, it wasn't the dude that wore out Clemson. It was that Bill Stewart. He was like a head coach in waiting for a couple of years. I don't know. It was a weird situation. He had worked for Bobby Bowden. He was friends with him. You remember this?
Yeah, I'm with you.
He coached at Florida State, and I was watching that game, and that was the one. Bobby came out there with the team before the game, and they let him chuck the spear in at midfield. And I was like, this is kind of weird. And at West Virginia playing well, like the entire first quarter, and then half the second quarter, and all of a sudden, it just seemed like they just totally fell apart, and Florida State won that game. And I'm like, for some reason, it just seemed weird. I was like, there's no way that this shitty Florida State team should beat them. I think they threw that game. I really do. I think they threw that game because he was friends with him and because he wasn't going anywhere anyway, so that Bobby could have a win in his last game as head football coach in college. I really do. I think that shit happens in some cases. I think it happened that day. It's a deep rabbit hole to go down, but I just have a conspiracy theory on that one.
Can we have Hayward Hodge call in? Hayward Hodge, if your testicles drop, call into the show, 803-470-2905, and let's talk some football. Well, I'd love to hear your knowledge, Hayward Hodge. Now, I'm willing to bet you,
Craig Ironhead Hayward?
I'm willing to bet you either A, he hasn't paid his phone bills, he probably can't call in, or B, he's probably going to get busy in a second. But Hayward Hodge, please call in and let's talk some football. Let's take a look.
If you can comment on here, you ought to be able to have enough.
I'm sure
able to call.
He'll have some. I'm sure maybe his business may be booming suddenly. I'm sure it's suddenly has to take care of his kids or something like that. We'll see. So Hayward Hodge, come on, we're waiting on you.
Glenn Powell over on Facebook says free beer for Cale. Hey,
there you go.
I'm all about that, man. Tell me where to find it. I'll be there.
Let's see. Will Hayward Hodge call in? Let's see.
Well, he commented.
I don't think he will. Rob, are you on mute? I think you're on mute, Rob. We can't hear you.
My bad. There we go. Is that better?
Yes.
There we go. Okay. Well, no, I think that Hayward is one of those guys. I love people that troll in the comment section, but won't call into the show because they're just like, I could be a keyboard warrior.
The little egg.
As Uncle Lou says, with the type.
That's funny. Yeah. Let's see. Some of the other comments. Scott, who was hosting our watch party in College Sports Fanatics, one of the groups I'm in, says, "Wow, that's a dick move, calling watchers out like that, demanding they call in." Apparently, he's talking to you there, comrade. You shouldn't call out watchers, comrade.
Just call in. Let's see. We're this is the phone line time. We're calling in. Call on in.
It's not a dick move. It's not a dick move. You can talk shit in the comment section. We can talk shit back to you.
So, come on in. Call in. I want to see Hayward Hodge.
It's called being damn interactive.
Come on in.
Goddamn.
You post the wrong clip and Cale may reenact the Jim Cornette Dairy Queen incident. You motherfucker! Goddamn! I could see all that.
Jim Cornette, I like that Jim Cornette incident where he was talking about somebody pissed him off and he said, "Goddamn!" He said, "When I was done with that damn car of his," he said, "he didn't have one piece of fucking glass left in that motherfucker, and I still had my damn baseball bat."
Typical.
He knocked somebody's front, back, side windows, and mirrors off of his vehicle and busted out all the tail and headlights. I'm
always worried if I was going to do something like that, I'd end up like cutting my hand or some shit. End up like cutting my wrist where I would like bleed out. That's kind of where that would go. Let's scroll up to some of the other comments that we've got here on the show this evening. Hayward says, "You can tell Comrade does not prepare and does not take this seriously." Man, he's mad at you, Comrade. Jerome says, "Need to get rid of Ray Tanner before he hires another football coach."
I don't think Ray will be hiring another football coach. Personally,
No.
I think that and I think everything's safe now because of the COVID. But I think it gets to the point that once he was to go, I think Ray will be working in the program.
Welcome into the show. Good evening.
Hi, my name is Angie, and I just wanted to let you guys know that there's only one quarterback named Kellen that will ever be remembered in college football history.
Who is that, Angie?
Kellen Moore, the winningest quarterback in college football history, with a record of 50-3 and the 3 losses by a total of 5 points. 5 points.
Yeah, but Angie, I hate to break this to you, and I know that all of the Boise State Smurfs, they will be calling because they are a passionate fan base. But I could probably put together a team with the Comrade at quarterback. He was 8th string at South Carolina. They may win half their games that Boise State plays. Just saying, Boise State doesn't really play anybody.
I'm not gonna give him a hard time. Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore was a pretty badass quarterback in college. I'm not gonna hate on Kellen Moore, but that's a good perspective. A little different. We don't talk Boise State football that much. The old blue team, but
told some of the Boise Michael from the same group that I was talking about. I told him that if he got 25 followers on the YouTube channel, that we'd do a Boise State preview. And just like Boise State, they failed. So, but Angie is a sweet lady.
Yeah,
Angie, thank you for calling.
We have the winning percentage in football history since 2000. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a nice
Angie, real quick. Wait.
right.
Angie, hold on. You still there? Did she leave?
Oh, no, she left. Yeah, she got her comment out and left.
Boise State's another team the Gamecocks own.
I was just curious if Angie's like from there or like how is she a Boise State fan?
Angie is from the land of French fries.
Okay.
She's one of the commercials that they're making French fries for all people to enjoy.
There are some Boise State fans who don't live near there just because of that game they had out in Arizona years ago, the Statue of Liberty play, and they beat Oklahoma. Right. That turned a lot of people who maybe didn't have a team became a Boise State team. So there are fans around the country that kind of pull for them now. So
that game was only a couple of years after the Gamecocks owned them in Wood B.
That's true.
Owned them.
What year was that, Cale? Do you remember that?
2001.
That was in the same era that Angie was talking about. I did not know that they came to the ghetto on Bluff Road and lost. I didn't know that.
They did.
They're not afraid to come
That's
down
interesting.
Here. Not afraid to travel.
Well, you know what? I will give them. They took that money, that big payout to come from.
Years ago. They come to Georgia about like 10 years ago. I want to say
I was going to bring
Gamecock money.
I was going to bring that up. Boise State and South Carolina have something in common. The last time they played the Georgia Bulldogs, they beat that ass. Just saying. They both went into Athens and they beat that ass. So they both have something.
I think that was 07.
That was 2011.
Yeah.
2011, they went into Georgia and they won there.
11?
So maybe Angie's got a point. Yeah, I'm looking at the game right here, Mike. Why are you questioning?
Yeah, I remember
the game right in front of you?
It was the first game of the season because we played East Carolina in Charlotte, and I went to that game. And when we were leaving, we were walking through the tunnel under the 485 to get back to the car, and I saw that Georgia had lost to Boise State, and I was like, "What the fuck, really?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
I'm a big Georgia fan, and I don't know why. I worked with a big Georgia fan who went to that game, and he did not have a good time coming back. But for some reason, I thought it was back in 07.
Yeah,
I don't know why I'm thinking that.
Yeah, we handled our business. We handled our business that night. They did.
Broccoli says Angie hung up before Comrade could shoot a shot. No, I was going to ask her, like, if she was from there, if how she became a fan of Boise State. That's all.
No.
She's
a big no, not like that. He thought you were going to try to lay some smack at her and be like, Boise State.
I was going to ask her about how she became a fan, but I'm still waiting for Hayward Hodge. Maybe Hayward can't figure out how to dial in. He's still trying to figure that out.
Yeah. Well, I if I remember correctly, and the Georgia fans can correct me if I'm wrong, I think that Mike Bobo was the offensive coordinator that year. He couldn't beat Boise State. There you go with that.
Probably was, yeah. Well, he did crush Clemson now. Clemson's still tired. Still tired.
I do find it funny that Boise State lost to South Carolina, but they won at Georgia. That's pretty impressive, in my opinion.
I don't
know.
I don't think it was at Georgia. I think that one was may have been. I'm not sure. May have been.
All right. Well, got one more caller calling in here. Hold on. Let's see here. Welcome into the show. Good evening. Hello. Welcome to the show. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you want me to call back?
Sure. Comrade, ask your question.
Oh, Angie, I was going to ask you just, do you live out in Boise? Like, how did you become a Boise State fan? I was just curious your background.
Well, I'm actually originally from Laramie, Wyoming, and my uncle actually played at the same time I went to the University of Wyoming. moved here for jobs in '89, and was shocked the size of Boise was just Division II at the time, but became big fans and got season tickets and watched them rise. They've only been D1 since 1996. Their last losing season was 1997. 2 years into being D1.
That's
There you
impressive.
go.
Since 2000, we still have the winningest college football winning percentage.
Well, I definitely think you're better than Clemson.
That's
No
pretty-
doubt in my mind.
That's pretty cool, Angie. We had a losing season in 1997 too, but guess what? We've got a whole hell of a lot more of them since then.
Now, I will say this, though. When I think of Wyoming, though, I think of basketball, and your most famous basketball player is who? Do you know who your most famous basketball player is at Wyoming? Different sport. Very good. Angie, now you have my respect. You have my respect now, because I know that Hayward Hodge.
That's when I
Hayward
went to
Hodge,
the
I know
University
that.
of Wyoming.
I know.
And since my uncle was a football player, they all lived in a farmhouse. And basketball, men's basketball, football players. So I knew all those guys.
Yeah, that
She-
Hayward Hodge would not know who Fennis Dembo is. He would not know who it was. He probably know who his dad is either. Hayward. He's probably still looking for his dad.
Angie,
And you know what's
this
amazing
evening.
about Fennis?
What's that?
Is he is the nicest, down-to-earth, funniest person you will ever meet.
That is
Thanks
awesome.
for letting me call in, and you guys have a great evening.
Angie, before you go, I've got a Robin Comrade T-shirt that I would like to send you. So send me your address. Calling us from the land of French fries.
He's not going to
We'd love
stalk
to-
you.
Wear a T-shirt. Take a picture for us. So we'll hook you up, Angie.
We're actually the land of steak, finger steak, fry sauce, and French fries, and baked potatoes.
There you
I've
go.
heard too much about Boise State tonight. Thank
We
you,
were
Angie.
talking about Fennis Dembo on the show tonight. That's awesome. Fennis Dembo has been brought up like twice in the show now. One time, I think we brought him up one time when we couldn't beat him in basketball, Wyoming, and we brought him up.
Comrade.
But,
Do you remember when we started this show like 3 years ago? And we didn't even do it live for everybody. You and I just recorded it back and forth. Now we've got a lady that just lectured us on the fact that Idaho is the land of finger steaks. What the hell is a finger steak? You ever had a finger steak?
steak. Shaped
It's
like
a
a
steak
finger.
finger.
You know?
What? Holy
It's a
shit.
steak
Look,
finger. You can have them at any clock or any of those
Sounds
type restaurants.
I'm hungry now. It makes me kind of hungry.
As the chunky guy on this show, I've never had a finger steak. That sounds like something you'd hear in a porn video. Come check out my finger steak.
I think
Now, if it's steak fingers she's talking about, they're tremendous.
Well, I appreciate the LSU folks that are messaging me behind the scenes here, watching. Comrade, you're in that group too, the College Sports Fanatics group on Facebook. Go join that group. It's there's a ton of LSU fans in there, a ton of them, and they all have the adage that Joe Burrow invented football and Coach Orgeron is the best football coach ever. But they're passionate fans. We'll give them that. So anyway, our next episode will be on Wednesday night. Which team do you want to preview Wednesday night? Normally we do an ACC team, but I'm open to who the hell ever. We've done – I don't want to do Alabama because I think we both all would agree Alabama is going to go 8-0, 7-1. You want to go Auburn? You want to go – what do you think? Where are you at, Cale? Where do you want to go?
let's do Mississippi State. Let's do Lychee.
Cale, are you cool with that? You want to go with Stark Vegas and Mississippi State?
Okay.
Cale, Cale's still gonna be on vacation. He doesn't give a shit. We'll do Mississippi State on Sunday evening.
I was going to say I would have rather done Kentucky because I'm more interested in them because they're in our side of the.
You want to do Kentucky, Comrade? They are on your schedule.
Kentucky is fine. We can do Kentucky.
Let's do Kentucky.
Maybe Ashley Judd will call it. Maybe Ashley Judd will call in. We know Hayward Hodge isn't calling in, but maybe Ashley Judd will call in.
Man, you're harsh with all that. So we'll bring the Kentucky preview for you on Wednesday. Final thing before we get out of here, I wanted to get your opinion on each of your opinion on the scheduling front. And the big question, will we have our rivalry games? Will we have a South Carolina Clemson? Because there's talk behind the scenes that may happen. And I've heard some things where they may have that at the beginning of the season. Wow.
Well, personally, I always thought it'd be pretty cool if you played that game anyway to open the season up. I think it'd get more attention a little bit if you could play it kind of early in the year. But then, of course, because one thing is most of the time when the two teams play, the game isn't that meaningful in terms of for both teams. It's very rare that both teams are ranked, highly ranked. Okay, it happened a couple of times. But if you play the first game of the year, you always have the hope that both teams may be really good that year. And that's a big game. So I kind of like that idea from that standpoint. But personally, here's my thing. The only way that they get the game in is if they play it to start the year. That's the only way. If they wait and try playing it at the end by Thanksgiving, I think
it's going to be canceled.
The season's shut down. The only way to get it in is play it, September, whatever that first day is. The
opening game of the season, yeah.
Play it then, and then you get it in, and then if the season gets canceled, 2 or 3 games in, at least you played that game. At least you get to add one more kind of a stat book to the rivalry, one more whatever, and do it that. And so if you want to play that game, so I personally think they should do that. Just because I think that game is important to the state, and of course, but will they do that? I doubt it, but that's the only way it gets played, I think.
Cale, where are you at, man? Rivalry game or not?
I think they do. I think they play it. There's too much money at stake. There's too much money at stake, too much money to be lost if they don't. I think they do. Like Comrade said, I think we do it early in the year. And I think you got to say with that one, advantage Gamecocks. Because you got a brand new secondary.
Mm-hmm.
We got some question marks there. Some question marks on defense. We got some question marks too. But that's I'd love to see that because I think it'll be a much more competitive game. And if we beat you, if we beat you, you'll have built-in, ready-made excuses. Well, congratulations. We weren't ready. We weren't prepared.
The Gamecocks didn't beat us. COVID beat us.
Yep.
I hate to break it to you, gentlemen, but Clemson plays their second string. They still beat you. You're not that good.
Shit.
Trevor Lawrence is wedding plans.
I didn't say we're that good. Neither you.
We're going to Marshawn.
Brock, by the way, over in the comment section says if they play at the beginning of the year, South Carolina wins. Brock, I disagree with you, sir.
By the way, real quick, Marshawn Lloyd is getting a lot of love nationally. Fox Sports did a little thing of freshmen to watch this year in the country now, not in the SEC, but freshmen watch in the country. And Marshawn Lloyd was on like number 3 and number 4 on like Urban Meyer's list on like I can't name all the Fox talking heads guys on there, but he was 3 or 4 on like 2 or 3 lists of freshmen to watch this year. So just a little something to think about. You guys don't know about him. You play him opening week, okay, and you're thinking he's Rico Dowdle back there who's going to cough the ball up or, have the ball go off his shoulder pads, and all of a sudden you're expecting that, and boom, he's Tony Dorsett back there and breaks one, and all of a sudden it gets real quiet in the empty stands where no one is because of COVID.
Are you
Quickly,
really comparing a guy? Oh my God!
who am I comparing him?
I'm glad that we brought Cale into the show.
He has looked really good, apparently. According to my sources,
He's never taken
good.
according to my sources who are at practice, who have seen him, he has lived up to the billing. That's all I'm going to say. I don't think we're going to see him this year because I don't think we have a season this year. But I'm going to say, if we get week 1 in and it's a little tiger paw up there, I could see him, going through your defense, before you know it hits you. You're like, oh, damn, And I'm
beginning to think that Hayward Hodge has some points here. You really are off this evening. You can be the greatest running back ever.
Still commenting, but he won't call in.
Yeah. You can be the greatest running back ever, but when you have a piss poor offensive line, it doesn't matter. So South Carolina has a
I think our line's better than people think. A lot better than people think. I'm not going to sit there and try to convince you our linebacker play is that good. I don't think our linebacker play scares me. I will not have you talk bad about the O-line. I think the O-line will be really good this year.
What were you going to say, Cale, before the comrades spit out?
I'd love to see that. I would love to see that. See another hurdle. Like he hurdled those kids in high school. In Maryland, he could hurdle one of your slow white boy defensive backs, that linebacker that kicked out of the damn championship game. Make him look like an old bitch. What do you think about that?
Tim Russell makes a good point. He says, won't happen. Conference will take precedence over in both the SC and ACC. I actually agree with that with Tim. I think the whole kind of the fact they're going to all conference games, and the reason why they're doing that is to get as much revenue as possible. And I know the Clemson-Carolina game is important, but in terms of if you can get as many conference games as you can for your broadcast partners to fulfill your broadcast contracts, I think you make more money that way than if you play that game first and give up a conference game.
Yeah, but you're talking about you're getting more. Will you really be getting more revenue from South Carolina Vanderbilt than if you dropped it and played South Carolina Clemson?
Well, because one, you're not gonna have fans of the game though either. You're very limited fans of the game, Cal. So what happens is every game, you control the TV revenue. So Carolina and Clemson play, and every year it switches who gets the TV revenue for that game. I say who has the game. Is an ACC package game or an SEC package game and so forth. And the reason why they're not going to play the out-of-conference games is because whoever is not getting the TV revenue, the TV package for their conference, it's a missed opportunity there. So they're trying to create more ways of bringing in the TV revenue. And plus, to play all the other. I mean, this doesn't go for Carolina Clemson, but to go ahead and pay those crappy teams to come play you, because the schools don't feel like paying out $2 million for Furman to come play them. They can keep that money as well. It kills those programs though. Those programs like Florida Atlantic and those teams. But so that's the main reason why they're doing that for us. I can see. Tim Russell's got a good point. They're very much trying to keep it all conference for that reason. But I think if they do that and find a way to try playing Clemson, Carolina at the end of the year, it won't happen because I think by then we're going to have more issues with things too. So,
yeah, I think
Hayward Hodge, contracts. Hayward Hodge. There's TV contracts. You jackass. That's how it works. Okay, there are TV contracts. So Hayward Hodge, contracts, please stop, Cameron. Yes, there are TV contracts. Now, why don't you call in and I'll educate you on how this works, okay? TV money is kind of important. They have contracts. They don't play the games on TV and they say, okay, what channel are we going to play today? Oh, okay, we'll play this channel. It's all set up years in advance, okay? So, yes, it's important. That's why they're going to all conference games, Hayward. That's why. It's not because of travel, because travel makes no sense anyway, because you got teams playing in Boston, coming down playing teams in Florida, okay? So it's not about travel. It's all about how can we get the most money possible, and you do that by playing conference games only with your TV revenue, with the contracts you have for the TV rights that you have for ABC and for CBS and for ESPN and your actual networks, the ACC network and the SEC network, all those things, okay? That's how it works, okay? I think the person earlier is correct. Hayward is probably too young to call because he's too young to understand how football works, okay? He's too young.
Well, that's great. I don't think that I think they'll get it in if it'll be at the beginning of the season, but I don't think it's going to be at the end of the year. I really don't. But I don't know, man. Everything with the COVID. The Comrade did say something earlier that we may just not end up having a football season. There was a building block put out there for that earlier this week where the NCAA put out their guidelines for football season. And one of the things that was there was if one player tests positive, the entire team goes into COVID or goes into quarantine.
Yeah,
so you can't determine where these guys are going to go. You know, we use Columbia with South Carolina for an example, because that's where I'm at now. Those guys get off the, they get off the practice field and they end up going to wherever into a student environment and they end up picking up the COVID-19, quarantines the entire team. I think that's something that is going to really hurt this football season. So, yeah, there's that. By the way, I'm on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good. Comrade is on Twitter at the Pesky Pole. Cale, you should follow Cale's YouTube channel, by the way. He's at Carolina Jackpot. And we will be previewing Kentucky on what day is it? Wednesday. Yeah, we'll preview Kentucky on Wednesday. Brock and Noah say that I get triggered really quick. I don't get triggered really quick. I'm just a big old teddy bear. I don't get it.
There are things you can trigger Rob, but there are different things.
There are things you can trigger me with.
Certain nights I can tell. Certain nights Rob comes on, I can tell he's already annoyed by something, and that's always my sign that I can really I can tell that there's a topic that he doesn't want to talk about that night, and I will make sure I bring it up nonstop to piss him off. Yes, I do sometimes.
I don't get upset though. Cale, do you think I'm unstable and upset on the show? You can be honest.
I think you have you can get upset, unstable. I don't know about on that.
You're unstable.
That sounds. That sounds a little bit goddamn mental. Okay, I think that's a little bit far fetched.
I've got to be. You know what? I'm going to be nice guy Rob on Wednesday to Jerome, who watches every week, Brock, and I guess I have to be nice to Hayward too. And Noah Sheldon 500. I'll be nice to them too, because apparently they think that I just get pissed off and start yelling things. I don't do that. I'm the nicest guy on this show. Far-fetched. That's not far-fetched. I'm the nicest guy on the show. I've got video proof of Cale losing his mind. And the Comrade, I mean, in this show, he's called somebody a jackass. I didn't call anybody a jackass. Y'all are the crazy ones, not me. Did I call somebody a jackass?
I'm watching ESPN Classic right now. It's not a station I normally watch at home. I don't have it on the channels I stream, but they're airing the 77 Dodgers-Yankees World Series right now. And, man, Davey Lopes, he had one hell of a damn porn star mustache back in 77.
Oh, the 70s were awesome. For the fros, too. You take their helmets off.
Fros. The white guys had fros too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the 70s the white baseball players in the 70s did not look real athletic. I will say that. They look very kind of like, man, you were a professional athlete? That's kind of strange. Like, you look at some of the guys on there.
Mark the Bird Fidrich.
Oh, he was awesome, though. He was crazy as hell.
Grooming tips from the comment section. Rob, Comrade, and Cale all need to shave.
It's COVID right now. It's kind of tough. I used to go to the barber. I used to go to the barber on a regular basis.
Wow, we're not joining the fucking military.
Brock with the comment of the night. Rob's temper is shorter than his eyebrows. My eyebrows are blonde, dude.
He did shave them off, though. For new people to the show, Rob and I had a bet last year in the Kentucky-Carolina game. And if Kentucky lost, he'd have to shave his head and his eyebrows live on the air at Callaway's. And he did. He honored his bet, and he shaved them off. There's still some video out there somewhere. And I don't think they've grown back. I don't think they've grown back since that night.
I have blonde eyebrows. Just saying.
So, what was my bet? If I lost, what was going to happen? I forgot what I had to do. I wear a T-shirt or something like that. I forgot what the bet was.
Yeah, we had a T-shirt for you, and it was going to be the same thing we did with you from the year before, where we were going to make
you song. I don't think the bet would be singing this year, though. I don't think it'd be singing. It did not go over well. People didn't like my voice. But there was a T-shirt going to make up that I had something about some kind of vulgar T-shirt. But luckily, we didn't have to worry about that because the Gamecocks took care of business.
Well, with that, we preview the Kentucky Wildcats on Wednesday. I will try to be nice and try to not have a short temper that's shorter than my eyebrows. Holy shit, Brock!
I'm afraid we lost to him. You'd make me sing like the Elvis, that cold Kentucky rain. Or whatever that damn song is.
I do. By the way, if you don't watch the show, if you want to listen to the podcast, you can find it wherever you get your favorite podcast. We always have a nice opener of Kentucky Rain during the Kentucky week. So, but we'll be reviewing the blue on what's that, Mike?
This is Cocky the cat right here. This is Cocky Boy. This is Cocky. This is a smart one.
Cocky Boy sounds like a porn star name. You should have named him.
We've got two cats. They're brothers. Both look the same. They're twins, pretty much. This is Cocky, and his brother is Clem. Clem's the one that's not that bright. He's kind of in the Hayward Hodge spectrum.
My God,
that's the one that probably eats out of the dishwasher.
I can answer the question for you. He never played a snap. You played the spring game, didn't you, Mike?
Did I play in this? No, I was gone for the spring game. No, I did not play a snap. I played in practice. I did throw a touchdown pass in practice one time. It was like a little 3-yard pass. We're playing a little goal line. Gets a first string D. I stepped in the pocket, kind of threw a little. I had to find a little lane right there, threw it out there to Jason Lawson, tight end, made the catch. That was good. So I threw one touchdown
Jason
pass.
Lawson, Union, South Carolina.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Threw one touchdown pass and about 78 interceptions in practice. My favorite target was Frank Adams. I used to love hitting Frank Adams in stride. The problem was
your favorite target if you fucking quit, dude.
I'm saying
he was from Union, South Carolina.
Frank Adams was a defensive back. Is the problem? That was the issue. He was a DB.
I know that. That's funny.
Yeah, that was the issue.
You on Wednesday. Cale's still on vacation. We appreciate him joining us. And I will try to be nice for Brock on Wednesday, which means the comrade's going to try to trigger me on Wednesday. But with that, gentlemen, this show's a wrap.